The period from 1881 to 1914 is known as the New Imperialism period. During this period, many European countries such as Great Britain, France, and Germany headed to Africa to colonize. Well, why did European countries want to colonize Africa? European countries started colonizing Africa, mainly to acquire natural resources and human labor. These countries had dried up their resources during the Industrial Revolution, so they were suffering a lack of resources. Since Africa had tons of gold, rubber, and copper, Africa was extremely attractive to European countries. They decided to colonize African countries so that they could freely hunt for the resources as much as they want. On top of that, by colonizing Africa, Europeans were able to rule over and use African natives as workers, which filled the labor force after slavery was abolished. Increases in resources and the labor force also benefited the US, whom the European countries mainly traded with. Now that you know why European countries colonized Africa, you might also want to know how European countries took African territory. Well, it was through an event called the Scramble for Africa. It was basically a proposal for the division of Africa by European powers. These countries joined a meeting called the Berlin Conference, the attendees being Great Britain, France, Germany, Portugal, Belgium, Spain, Denmark, Austria-Hungary, the Netherlands, the Ottoman Empire, Russia, Sweden, and Norway, and 7 of these countries discussed the future of Africa. However, African representatives were not allowed in the conference in order to exclude anyone who opposed the idea of colonization. The breadth of the land in Africa showed how much power a country had, and the strongest country at that time was Great Britain, which actually did get the most land in Africa. The second strongest country was France, and the third was Germany. Spain, Italy, Portugal, and Belgium also won parts of land, resulting in only 10% of the land being left alone, and the rest were taken by one of the 7 countries that joined the Berlin Conference. Today, many African countries have managed to become independent from European countries, but the remnants of imperialism are still prevalent. From the late 1700s to the 1900s, South Africa was occupied by the British, so in South Africa you could see many buildings that were created back then. Another example is Niger. Prior to Africa's colonization, the country we know as Niger did not exist. From the 1890s to the 1960s, France gained an area in which different regions with different cultures resided. But nonetheless, the French forced them into the same country, and because of that, there are many cultural conflicts in Niger still present. Imperialism left many issues and conflicts throughout Africa. Nevertheless, countries are seeking breakthroughs for the problems. We hope that in the near future, African countries will cope with these issues, and a new era will begin.